How's it going, guys? I'm here today to talk to you guys about the best possible way to increase your credit score fast or achieve the best possible credit score, which is at 850. Before we get into all this, we need to know what exactly is a credit score. A credit score is a snapshot evaluation of your credit risk. It can help lenders judge whether loaning you money is a wise investment. A higher credit score means you are more likely to pay your bills on time, and a low credit score means the complete opposite. In the US, most credit scores are done by the FICO or Advantage Solutions, which have their similarities and differences. There's three main credit bureaus: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. They all factor the scores differently, so the scores you see on one of them may not be the same on the other. FICO scores range from 300 to 850, and Vantage Score adopted the same 300 to 850 score that FICO uses now. Vantage Score has 6 main categories, which based on the algorithm, will develop your credit score. Each of these categories don't have the same influence as your credit score. Number one, and arguably the most influential, is your payment history. This means if you're paying things on time, if you have any late payments, if you're taking interest from the bank, whatever those. If you're paying off your credit card statements on time, you should have a 100% payment score. To achieve this, you should be paying off your credit card bill in full before its due date. Now, I would make sure you do it not on the same day as your due date, but a couple days before, because it does take time to process. Number two, and second on the list, the age and type of credit. The longer you have credit lines open means the longer your history is. If you have credit lines open, even if you don't use them, I'd recommend not to close them, as that long credit line history would take effect onto your age. So say when you turn 18, you open a bunch of credit cards. Say you open 2 or 3 credit cards in your first year of turning 18. That means if you open a credit card 2 or 3 years down the line, it won't have a massive impact on the age of credit, because the 2 at the beginning still average it out to a bit still kind of early. Now, if you don't open a bunch of credit cards and you're 21 years old and you open your first credit card, this will take a massive hit on your age, as you don't have any previous credit cards to average out the history. So in the history, it will be very recent. It'll be probably like 1 month, and you won't have any history. Another big thing that many people actually don't know, which is surprising to me, is your percentage of your credit limit that's being used. Experts generally recommend using less than 30% of your credit, but to achieve a perfect credit score and to make sure you have the highest possible score, I'd recommend you use under 10% if possible. Now, to see if you're using under 30% or under 10%, just go to your bank and see what your credit line is. Say your credit line is $1,500 or $1,000. You just have to use under 30% of that. So say your credit line for one of your credit cards is $1,000 per month, right? You have to make sure you're using $300, you're spending $300 or less and paying it off by full to achieve a less than 30%. Another thing is your total balances in debt. I would recommend avoiding this completely as long as you're paying off your credit cards and you're paying off your loans and all that stuff. This should not be a worry. Another big thing is your inquiries. Every time you apply for a credit card, you will get a hard inquiry, which will be there for about 6 months before it disappears, which will take a hit on your credit score. So don't apply for too many credit cards at once, as you will receive multiple hard inquiries. Now, by far the least important is the available credit. Available credit, which is fairly obvious, as the name suggests. It's the amount of credit that's available for you. So say your credit limit is $1,000, which would mean your available credit is $1,000. Pretty self-explanatory. Next, let's talk about FICO. Now, FICO does things differently, as they do it in 5 different categories, and they do it with your payment history, your amounts owed, your length of credit history, new credit, and credit mix. Now, one of the big differences I've noticed about FICO and Vantage Score is for FICO, you have to have one or more of your accounts open for at least 6 months before your FICO score is available to you. So, say you want to see your FICO score right when you open a credit card, it won't be possible, as you don't have enough history. Vantage Score, on the other hand, can do it with just 1 month of history. Now, the categories are fairly simple, as number one, the most important, is your payment history, which is, like I said, just paying off all your credit cards on time and making sure you don't have any late payments. For this, like I said before, I would recommend after they send your statement, I would recommend paying it off your credit card in full before the due date, and that way you have 100% payment history. Then you have amounts owed, of course, which is just the amount of debt you have and the amount of unpaid balance you have. So you make sure you have none of that to achieve to make sure you are at the highest point. Next, obviously you have the length of credit history. The more you have credit lines open, the higher credit history is. So like I said, I'll open up as many cards as you can, or that's financially possible for you to do. I personally have about three credit cards right now, and I'm 18 years old, about to turn 19 in a couple months. And my credit history is around 750. And if I say I plan to open a credit card in December, my length of history won't take a massive hit, as the 3 credit cards I've opened before will weigh down still, which will leave my credit average still about like 6 to 8 months. Then you have your credit mix, which means new credit type of credits you have, like car loans, or if you're investing in a house, just to mix it up a bit and not just having the same on one basket. So how do you monitor your credit score? I would recommend signing up for a free credit card monitoring service like Credit Karma. Open a credit card and spend very little on it every single month and pay it off in full right before its due date. This way, in about 6 months, you will have at least a credit score of 700, and you should be, at the very least, able to open up another credit card in 6 months' time, and keep doing this for a couple months. You should see your credit score rise exponentially. Now, there are ranges for these. It's marked as exceptional, very good, good, fair, and poor. And as you can see, the scores based on your FICO or Venture score will be different on your score rating, and that will in turn reflect on what kind of interest rates you get. So obviously the highest credit score will get you the lowest interest rates, which is amazing. And if you have a very poor credit score, you'll have to pay the highest interest rates if you want to do something. So say you want to buy a car or a house and you need a loan from the bank, or you're putting down a down payment on a car. If you have a high credit score, you barely have to pay any interest on the car. But if you have a very low credit score, they might not even give you a loan possibly, but you'll have to pay very high interest so the bank can get their money back. Now for beginners, I would recommend doing something very simple. I would recommend for those starting off, getting a beginner's or starter card. I started off with the Discover Rate card, which is a great beginner card. I'd also recommend the Citi Double Cash credit card, which is also a great beginner credit card, which is very simple to use. And every 6 to 12 months, I would get another credit card while still paying off each credit card in full every single month. This way, after 2 or 3 years of doing this, you should be able to achieve a score close to 800 as long as you don't do anything dumb or stupid. And that will set you up very nicely for in the future if you do plan on doing anything else. That concludes this video. This is one of my shorter videos, but I wanted to keep this very brief and very simple. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And please subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss a video. I'll see y'all next time.